laws are put in place to protect you. See, a lot of people think that a lot of Haitian practitioners are rude or they speak in a condescending manner. It's not necessarily the case when you come to get work from us, because we speak in a manner so that you can understand the severity of what you're doing. When you're working with a law like Carrefour, you're working with a law like Maître Minuit or Marinette Pièce or Tipis Lacroix. These are very powerful forces. And if you don't follow the rules and regulations, you could end up being hurt. Your children can end up being hurt. Your family can end up being hurt. And this is why we speak in such an aggressive tone, because we want you to understand the severity of what you're dealing with. I remember there was a client of mine years ago. I told to do things XYZ, right? This is what you do. Don't be negligent. And even in the voodoo song about Nezeli Donto, they tell you not to be negligent, for those who know that song, by Azor. Well, this lady chose not to follow the rules and regulations of the law that I told her, where I signed to her. And one day she end up driving. She happened to be driving one day with her friend in the passenger side. What I know is that they totaled the car. The client, her head ended up going through a windshield, basically, cracking her skull, but she had to get a lot of stitches in the forehead. There's another time, and I'm going to bring up a recent one. This was a client that I told to do certain things, and they chose to neglect it. They chose to, they chose to procrastinate. And I'm going to give you another procrastination client. This client chose to procrastinate. I told them what to do, and I advised them over and over what to do. They chose to procrastinate. They just looked at it as, this item here is what it is. I don't see nothing. I don't hear no voices coming from it. So they just looked at it as just a plain object. So anyhow, that client did not follow my rules and regulations. Her son was in the passenger side. They end up getting into an accident, and her son's legs end up being broken, both legs. There's another client of mine recently. I kept on warning this person down the line, change this, do XYZ. The person never did anything that I told him to do. The person never did anything that I told him to do. Now they're in a position, they're about to lose their child. They end up getting to a situation where they had a big laceration on their hands. See, when you don't follow the rules and regulations, there's consequence to this stuff. And anyone that's, proclaiming to be a voodooisant in this tradition of Haitian voodoo, you got to know the rules and regulations. If you don't understand the severity of the power of this, of this tradition, this is not the place for you. A lot of people like to bring this fictitious representation of Haitian voodoo, and they lead a lot of people astray. And a lot of people end up going to difficulties because they don't realize the severity of what they're dealing with. The most common problem is that people are negligent. And not only that, they underestimate what they have in their midst. This simple item, they look at it, oh, it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing. We call it monté in Creole. Monté, it can be a hand that's lifted. It could be an object that's lifted. Monté means lifted. They can give you a piece of paper and it has a spirit associated with it. And you just look at it as a piece of paper. They can give you a pair of glasses and you think it's just a pair of glasses and there's a spirit associated with it. This is what they call monté. But a lot of people in the West, in America, they just look at it as just a plain object and whatever, and this is when they run into difficulty. Don't judge things based on appearance. Don't underestimate things because it looks normal to you. In Haitian culture, we had to learn to do things in plain sight. We were in a time where we had to do things in plain sight, and it became part of our culture. So a lot of things that we do, especially Port-au-Prince Haitians, we do things in plain sight. The obvious things could be in front of you and you really wouldn't realize what's in front of you. You just think that, oh, it's a pair of glasses, or it's even a watch, or it's just a belt. So with that said, I want you guys to basically follow the rules and regulations. Don't take it to heart as a person is talking in a condescending manner to you, or they're talking down to you, because they only mean good. With that said, I conclude this video. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.